historians. Now, imagine a world where everyone had a specific job and society depended on strict rules to survive. That world is medieval Europe, and today we'll uncover the feudal system, a system that shaped life at that time. Let's start with our learning objectives for today. First, we'll explore the feudal pyramid and learn about roles and responsibilities of each group, from kings to peasants. Second, we'll examine how these groups depended on one another to keep the feudal system running smoothly. The feudal system wasn't just a random collection of people, it was a carefully organized pyramid. Let me explain how it worked. At the very top was the king. The king owned all the land but couldn't manage it all alone. So he gave pieces of land called fiefs to nobles, wealthy and powerful individuals who promised loyalty and military support in return. Next, the nobles were responsible for managing their land called manors. They also had to supply the king with knights during times of war or trouble. Below the nobles were the knights. These were trained warriors who protected both the nobles and the land. In exchange, the knights received smaller pieces of land or were provided with housing and food by the nobles. Finally, at the bottom of the pyramid were the peasants or serfs. They worked the land, growing crops and raising animals. Their labor provided food and resources for everyone above them. This pyramid wasn't just about power, it was about survival. Each class had a role, and if one group failed to do their part, the entire system would collapse. So how did all of this actually work? Well, let's take a closer look at the relationships between these groups. Picture this. The king grants a large piece of land to a noble. In return, the noble agrees to provide knights to protect the kingdom. The noble then divides the land among the knights, who pledge to fight for the noble when needed. Meanwhile, the knights allow peasants to farm the land. In exchange for their hard work, the peasants are given protection from bandits and invaders by the nobles and the knights. This exchange created a cycle. The king relied on the nobles for soldiers, nobles relied on knights for protection, and everyone relied on peasants for food. It was a system of give and take, but it wasn't always equal or fair. Now it's time to test your understanding. Let's think about everything we learned today. What was the role of the knights in the feudal system? Think about how they balanced protection and loyalty. Why did peasants and nobles rely on each other? How did their relationship keep the system functioning? Finally, what would happen if the peasants stopped working? What part of the pyramid would break down first? Great answers. These questions show just how interconnected everyone in the feudal system was. Let's revisit our objectives. First, we learned about the feudal pyramid and the roles that kings, nobles, knights, and peasants all played. Then we explored how these groups depended on each other for survival. Now, the feudal system was fascinating, but it was an unequal structure that helped medieval societies function. Thanks for joining me today. And I'll see you in class for more medieval adventures.